Okay guys, Father Time here. This is a really difficult profile. This is from Bogota to Pereira, Colombia on Avianca flight 8515 on FSiPanel. Down here in the bottom, you can see it. You guys should get this. Great training aid. I'm not going to go through how to set this all up like I do sometimes. I'm just going to get right into it. It's going to take me a long time, and I'm going to be working my butt off. Avianca 8515, starting at Bogota. It's level 3 out of 4. I think it's actually a level 4 for a number of reasons. If you click on here, I already did my sim brief flight plan. I'll show you that in a minute. Open the lesson plan. There's no YouTube tutorial, so maybe this will be a good one. If I get this done, I'll send it to JP with FSiPanel. Maybe I'll put it up there. So I'm going to be using the MD-11 with Pratt & Whitney engines, which are in the works. But I am a part of the quality assurance team, so I have access to them. So I'm going to fly that. We're going to start at gate 31 on the Sobo, which is gate 47 there on 32 right. Remember to do this. I've written down all this stuff as I always do with FSiPanel. I have all the frequencies, the weather, the ATISs. I'm all ready to go. Here's my gate 47, nose to left, out Bravo 9, the right on Alpha all the way down. It tells you what to do. Is nose RNAV SID to the RNAV runway 26. This is a crazy profile. I will show you why in just a minute. It is a lot of work with go rounds and arcing RNAV departures and arrivals and speed changes on departure and altitude restrictions, and wow, it's a lot, but we're going to be using that. There's our flight plan right there. Bogota, 8,500 foot field elevation, so it's going to be a real slow acceleration. We're going to do a couple of things with the setup. I'll show you that, because remember, I'm prepping you to do an FSiPanel. You can do this without FSiPanel. It's terrific. Just do the same profile. You can pause this and write down the route. I will tell you, see the ISNOX 2 Sierra to ISNOX, that's great. But on the ISNOX 1 Echo to the SKE, just put in, instead of the ISNOX 1 Echo, put in the RNAV 26 with the ISNOX transition. And don't put in this, don't put in that one, that ISNOX 1 Sierra. It's a lot cleaner load up on the MD-11. We're going to go at 18,000 feet as they told us to do. This is our routing in gate 31. We'll be using this flight plan with this alternate fuel. Always don't put in an alternate because the alternate fuel is what you want to put in. I'll show you that. There's repetition's the key to learning, right guys? Here's your taxi fuel 2.0. I put in 8,000 extra because it's such a complicated situation. That gives me an extra 35 minutes, a couple of approaches over there. I would recommend that. Let's see here. Lesson plan, we already reviewed that. Pre-flight checklist, I'll be using these checklists. These are all my checklists, my personal creations using other sources. I've been using them for over a year now with TFDi. They work great. Go to my Discord site, go to MD-11 manuals, and you'll find them there. There's normal checklist, we'll be using that. FMS, anything I do today, any day, is on the FMS checklist I made up for you. You want to practice some emergencies, it's going to be fully profiled emergency aircraft, maybe by the end of the year. Much like the 777 on PMDG, those kind of things, and 73s. Right now they don't have them, but you can simulate them naturally, and these are the steps initial steps you take. Something on the history with the aircraft, right here, a little welcome pack, and what do you want to look at? Table of contents, introduction, history, right side of the cockpit, just a basic orientation, flight training manual. This is a great flight training manual. It's right here. It's clickable, scroll, flying a Cat 3. You want to know how to do that? There you go. How about go back to table of contents? How about you want to do a 1 engine approach and go around? 2 engines out. That's how you do it right there. Pretty cool, right? All the way back forward. Interactive systems guide. I made this up. Not patented, but this is it. You click anywhere you want. Some of these panels, like this one, I made up myself. Others are made up by the pilots. The ones you see here are mine. Go back to home, and let's say comm panel here. Anything you wanted to know about the comm panel, FMS installation. I made this one up. UPS pilots on the MD-11 site made up that one, and I give them fully credit down here, footnoted, although it's an inactive site now. Anyway, you get the idea. It's fantastic. Anything you want to know, any systems, fantastic. Holding, everything you want to know about holding on the MD-11 is right there. GPWS, here's what it is, and guys are good, right? Lesson plans there. That's the different modes. You can go ahead and test those out if you want. Wanted to start with that. I'm going to close this out. I downloaded the scenario, and I already did, and it came out as the downloaded for 8515, And now let me show you what you do here. Choose your poison world map. Got a few things you got to do to fly this profile. I'm in the McDonnell Douglas Avianca thing. Oh, well, take a look at that. That is just a beautiful, beautiful airplane. You guys should probably take a look at that in the hangar. I love this view. Look at that. It's got Pratt & Whitney engines, which are a work in progress with TFDi. They do work, but they kind of surge a little bit, but we're going to use it. The reason I'm using it is because it's the only place I could get a Pratt & Whitney MD-11 skin. I like to do that when I'm flying these FSiPanel profiles. Very cool. Anyway, go to the world map, put in SKBO right there. I got to go to gate 31, which is right there. Look at that. I nailed it. I got to put in the correct weather, which is preset. Now on this particular one, you can go IMC or VMC. I'm going to go VMC, and the reason is it's not weather limited, and I want you to be able to see his IMC. I want you to be able to see the ground. It's kind of cool when you see this approach. Only thing is weather. I'm going to have to change the temperature manually on this when I do it, and I'll show you why in a minute. Microsoft Flight Simulator at the 8,500 foot just gives you standard, won't give you the temperature that's on this profile, which is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's all set. Let's go back, escape, and we'll get started. World map, everything's set. Look at that, says small, I know, and we'll go flying. All right, let me show you something here. Just get started on this because I wanted to show it to you a couple of times. We are going to be at gate 47, pushback nose to left, taxi on out. They give us specific taxi instructions. We'll have full ATC here. ISNOX 2 Sierra. Take a look at this. Looks simple enough, right? A nav departure. You got to make sure your active waypoint's the one in front of you. I just tried this, and the nav just didn't work because I didn't have the active waypoint in front of me, so I'm starting all over. Wow, it's got a waste of an hour. You see all these hard altitudes, 12,000, between 12 and 14. You've got to double check your FMC. They get this wrong on the upload, whether you're the PMDG 777, MD-11, Airbus, they all get them wrong. Bunch of different altitudes we're going to have to check going along. But here's the real thing. I wouldn't have known to do this except JP warned you in the lesson plan. We're going to go 9,200 foot upon reaching an altitude of 9,200 feet, which is only 800 feet above the ground. Initiate the turn to adjust climb power. So they want climb power at 9,200 MSL, which is 800 feet above the ground. At 11,000, start cleaning it up. At 11,000 is 2,600 feet above the ground, and accelerate. But they want you to maintain 250 until to 12.5. So we'll have to do that. And it does have a McDonnell Douglas, all versions included, and they basically are warning you on the MD-11. They really don't want you in here, but there's very specific noise abatement problems with the 7.2 and the MD-11 in Bogota, believe it or not. Very noise sensitive. But when we get down there, look at this. Wait till you see this RNAV we're going to do here. Look at this. Arcing all around. We might have to go around. There's the missed approach. Look at these min sectors. Oh yeah, let me just show you something here because it's worth seeing. Look at the min sectors here. 17,000, 18,000, 16,000. Just a lot, and it's a 6,200 foot runway. MD-11 can get in there, but you probably need special exemption with most companies. So let's put this back up, and we'll be ready to go here in just a minute. I'll get this taxi out and I'll minimize this, and that's the pre-brief. Not the whole FSiPanel pre-brief, but the pre-brief. Cold dark airplane. I'm going to get it started. I'm going to have this time stamped. It's going to run over 2 hours for a 25-30 minute flight. Well, more than that, because we're going to have to go missed approach and hold and do a bunch of crap. So anyway, stay with me. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have a blast here, but we're going to work hard. Go outside. Oh, I forgot to boot up my my drone, and now it's booted up. Here, let's go outside, take a look around. Nothing much to see. You can see cold dark airplane. We're going to take it from scratch, run all the checklists like a real crew would do, get everyone boarded up, pretty full boat going here, talk about a bunch of things related to the MD-11. I kind of am the expert on it around here, but there's other guys that are very knowledgeable, but because I was involved with the development of it, I kind of know a lot about it. So there'll be some pearls of wisdom that in my 21,000 hours. Not bragging, right? Just the facts here. So let's see. If you want to know something about the MD-11 or flying in general, I'm pretty good bet. I'm a good guy to have. Checking the circuit breakers, walking in the cockpit. Let's take it from cold dark, all right? We're going to check the 3 oxygen bottles, 1 there, fire extinguishers, halon fire extinguishers, 1, 2, and this is the first observer's seat swivels forward. Easy for me to say. That's the medical kit and his oxygen mask. These circuit breakers, some are going to be modeled here shortly by the end of the year with the full profile, as I mentioned. Back here, you got the door. It's off and it's closed. If you want to open it, you can, but we don't want to open it. So this is the ELT. The captain would grab that if they're going to ditch, God forbid. Spare pins. This is the pressure breathing equipment, a hood that goes over, cinch it down, get a good oxygen flow, and go fight the fire with those bottles. That's the 3rd bottle there. We check that the ropes are here, 1 and 2 ropes, and that the windows are closed and locked. And with that, we come on over, we come up the middle. We're going to put power on the aircraft. Let's make sure we don't hurt anyone. So we're going to make sure the radar is off, fuel control cutoff switches are cut off, start switches are in, throttles are idle, spoil lever is down, flap lever is up, gear handle is down, and we're going to come up and check that the windshield wipers are off so we don't scratch the windshields on a dry windshield. And we want to make sure the dump switch is covered and the dump manifold is covered. Then we come up here, we see the external power available light. That means volts and freaks are good. If you care what they are, they're 400 on the freaks and 115 on the volts, plus or minus. Turn on the battery. Turn on the external power.
Autopilot.
These take about a minute to come up, the CRTs. They come up, TFDi modeled them to happen a little quickly for your viewing pleasure. Up here, we're going to turn on the IRSs. When we do, get the cargo fire test, quickly go down. Notice here 2 master warnings and 2 fire cargo messages. And then when that's over, rush down, go to FMC on both, check the databases, and they're both good. Today is August 28th, and it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I got to get this done before my wife gets home. Let's go. So flight plan init, and initialize the IRSs. Now, one guy usually loads the IRSs, FMCs rather, and the other guy does the exterior and the overhead. We're going to do the overhead first. How's that? But before we get started, we're going to do some of this ground stuff so we can time this a little better. Import the flight plan. I apologize if I talk quickly for you guys that are English as a second language. The flight plan is set. This is from Bogota to Pereira. And the payload didn't set. If you get that payload's not set, go to perf. Change the runway or something, and anything. I go 32 right, that's what it's going to be, right? I got to talk to you about this too. 32 right, and then just download these for now. I got to change those, which you'll see in a minute. Once you do that, usually you come in here and set payload, and it goes in. So flight plan set, payload set. Let's go to perf. I'll get the data for you. As we mentioned, 32 right. Now, the problem on this is that, let me show you something, is that under the weather, right here, you can see that the temperature here is 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Well, it's 20. So what you have to do, because Microsoft Flight Simulator, the program, you need to manually set the temperature here. So the way you do that is you come in here, and now it's set for 20. Look at that. All right, TNT is 20. It was 4, now it's 20. With that, you can go to the EFB if you want to get the takeoff data all ready to go. 32 right, full winds. The winds are going to be, we're going to download the winds here in a second, are right here, SKBO. 270 at 18, because it's a pre-canned weather package from FSiPanel. 270 at 18. Temperature is 21. Pressure altitude 1028 is correct. We're going to go specific flaps 15. Packs are on. Calculate. And you can see with this 8400 and 119, 136, 155, and 44 for flaps 15. We're not going to do the charts, services. I'm going to go into the overhead. Before I load any people, try to play it real here. I've got to do an APU fire test. 3 lights in the handle, 1 in the APU, 4 messages, 2 master warnings. Let it play through.
Engine 2, fire. Engine 3, fire.
And with that, you've done a good fire test. Back to the overhead, lights out. Start the APU here, guys. You can start it up on the APU panel with the start-stop, but here you'll get the automatic shutdown features. A couple extra protections are in there. And once that comes on, after a minute, the APU bleed will come on. You'll have to turn that on. All right, coming down our 4 columns. Remember I had the pre-flight checklist that I showed you. Using this one, the flow is followed by those blue lines. Anything I'm going to say is right there. Push this green band. Looks good. Generator lights are out. Galley buses are off. Sometimes they trip when you have external power on. Not APU, but external power. Got to get that coffee going. It's one of the first things you do. 12 o'clock. FADAC, which like the EDC, they're all lights are out. Fuel emergency dump light switch is off. Run a hydraulic pressure test. If you wanted to go down to the systems display control panel, you could watch it do its gyrations here, and you'd see systems being powered. See how that's kind of faint? If you want to get those a little better, come over here, go way down. I'm going to bring the lights all the way up on the 6 CRTs. It's EAD, system display, FOs, nav display. FOs, PFT. Anytime you see a light on the system display, there's a corresponding message to it on the. Let's go the other way. Why don't we? On here. See any kind of pressurization start taking place? Nope. Hydraulic pressure test. It'll start getting going here. You'll see a valve coming on it. There you go. See the AGG just went on. It's going through its test. Pretty cool. I love that stuff. All right, so now that we have the APU going, let's do that. Turn off the external power. Go to the EFB. Turn off the GSX. Wheel chocks remove. When I do that, I'm going to have to set the brakes. I got to depress the pedals. Set the brakes. I'll show you something here in a minute on that. Yeah, we're good. Some of the other things here. Those are services. State, we don't need to worry about that. Options, a lot of stuff to talk about here real quick. Systems, I'm using Imperial. Everything here, just as you see. Realistic IRS align time, get 10 minutes. Parking brake. If you want it to be simplified, just use your push button on your yoke, whatever you set up, do that. Otherwise, realistic, you got to press the pedals, then pull the parking handle. To release it, you just press the pedals at home. Extended range, only a few of us have that. I do. Sorry, you can't hold that. Make sure your SimBrief username's in there to get your Navigraph stuff out. If you're going to go that sim and want to use the CPDLC, you put your hoppy code in here. If you want to go to sleep, wake up in the morning, it's at the top of descent after a 10-hour flight. You pause at top of descent, you come home and start over for the landing in the morning with your coffee. Save whatever you change. Systems. I caution and warning, these are the ones I have all the call-outs on. And performance, I wouldn't do anything. I'm not going to enable the efficiency. These help you turn better. Flap pylon or the deflected ailerons. Just wanted to show you those things. And we'll do that. Next thing we'll be needing here is the takeoff data when we come back. Anyway, that's that. Back to the overhead. Knock that out real quick. And while we're doing that, guys, I can actually come down and we can start the FSiPanel. Now, FSiPanel, it's going to set these frequencies automatically for me as we get going. The only one they don't do is 2345 at the beginning when I start it. That's the ATIS. So I'm going to have 2345 set, and the ATIS will come on when I start the FSiPanel. You can start FSiPanel after you've done all the download of the profile, shut it down, start it when you get power on the aircraft, which is right now. And that's 2345. So let's start FSiPanel right here. Click it. Starting up. Just let it do its thing. Go to airline flights. We're not going to do any training here today. Avianca, start training. And up here it says connecting the FSiPanel, downloading scenario pack. Please stand by. And you'll know that it's up and running when you start hearing the ATIS going. Pretty cool, huh? Now, if it doesn't work, the chances are you may not have started this, the FSiPanel icon right there. Avianca scenario starts now. Contact clearance delivery when ready. ATIS available to COM 2345. Click here to acknowledge. The clearance delivery's frequency is 21.6. So if you take a look down here now, they're going to set 21.6 for you, usually over here.
Acknowledge received Bogota Airport information mic on first contact.
Let's listen to the ATIS.
This is Bogota Airport Information Mic. Landing runway 32 left ILS approach. Departure runway 32 right. Wind 270 degrees at 18 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Clouds scattered 3,000 feet. Scattered 6,000 feet. Temperature 20. Dew point tone 2. QNH 1018. Transition level flight level 190. Acknowledge received Bogota Airport Information Mic on first contact.
Okay, you guys heard it. Transition level, which is coming back in, is 19. Going out, it's 18. First flight level is 19 going out. So therefore, we're going over there at 18. We'll never set 1013 or 2992, whatever you're using. Okay, let's go back to the overhead. Knock this out. We'll do it all manually. Hydraulic pressure test looks like I might be doing that. Let's go here. Yeah, it's probably still doing the test. APU's running. Let's get the air going. And once we get the air on the aircraft and we know that it's cool enough, I'll go ahead and start GSX. And probably too small for the...
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Request boarding.
Boarding requested.
Avianca. Okay, I'm going to set up. We're 220 people or something like that, plus the flight attendants. That's, let's say it's 228 or 300, whatever, 280. The less people you have in here, you set this, and it's going to drain less off your engines, thereby sending you, giving you more performance and better, less fuel burn. And same thing with econ. Make sure that econ is on, or else it's 1% more fuel flow, fuel burn rather. Everything's good. ISO valve's good. Going to get press product quantity test 18888, then 10 5s. If you look down on the fuel, I have to go down here. Fuel, it will be 52.4. You can see right now we are 39 even. As I mentioned, 1888, 10 5. Zoom in here, 52.4. If for some reason you had access to the extended range aircraft, you would get 63 even. Okay. Feel the overhead. We go auto here. Something's messed up with that. Let me turn on the oxide pump, hydraulic pump, see if we can get this pressure going back here. It's in manual here. Auto. Off. All right, that's better. Don't know how that what happened there. We're not going to worry about that for the time being. See how it comes out. Up here in the light panel, I'm going to turn no smoking on. Dome lights off, fuel dump switch covered, emergency lights is armed. All these lights are off. Nav lights should be on whenever you have power on the aircraft. Call lights are off. You can reset them here. Got 3 lights off, 3 lights on. Up there, back to the top, all the way up. We did the fire test. You could do the GPWS test. For now, just make sure that's in normal. Terrain override if you're at VMC conditions and you're getting a too low terrain, or you just have to press this to say, I'm looking at the runway, something's wrong with your position on the aircraft. This is the AFS panel. Remember, we checked that. All the lights are out. This is yaw damper for Dutch roll, LSAS for pitch, very famous LSAS, creates some resistance. And you've got the flap limiter and the elevator feel. The faster you go, the tighter it makes the elevator so you don't over G it. Make sure you're not in manual, that you're in auto, and whenever you get to the pressurization, you're supposed to come down and on the air panel, check the cabin outflow valve, full open, landing elevation is set. Here you know that the blue is what you've selected, white's what the cabin are. This is your duct temperature, here your cargo temperatures. These are your bleed pressures. We'll be looking at those in just a minute. Remember, we're at 8,500 feet. Got a lot of things to talk about to do with that as it relates to performance. Okay, back up here. Anti-ice is all off unless you're 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit with visible moisture. You don't need the engine ice. Otherwise, after you start and you're 10 or less with visible moisture, you got to turn those on, or taxiways, runways with snow or slush or ice. Wing after above 1,000 feet if you get icing. And we're going to turn on the windshield anti-ice at this point, and defog light is on. That means it's on. Enunciators, press dim, bright, whatever you want. We'll go bright.
Overspeed.
Check all your lights.
Overspeed.
If there's any burnt out, you call maintenance. And I got a little issue with the hydraulic system, guys. We'll be playing with that one in just a minute. Fuel system, let's do this. Engine max pointer, we'll do that. Reset all those. Glare shield control panel. What you're required to do prior to getting your clearance is make sure that your indicated airspeed is indicated airspeed, not Mach. Oh, this thing is your glare shield control panel. This little section is your flight control panel. These two identical sections, your engine EISs. EIS, flight control panel, whole thing, glare shield control panel. You're in heading, not track, feet, not meters, and vertical speed, not flight path angle. We're going to get a clearance initially of 12,000 feet, remembering that 18,000 is our transition, 19 is our first flight level. Runway heading, we can go ahead and set that in for now. It's going to be 315, although we'll be using nav on departure. We'll talk about that in a minute. And remember, you always put in here 250 or clean min maneuver. So real heavyweights, we're lightweight today. Real heavyweights, sometimes your clean min maneuver can be up there 275, 280. That's what you put in here. That's the final number you're going to go to after cleaning up, which we have to talk about. Much to do on the loading the FMC. EIS source selector. Here's your EIS, remember? By the way, on the EIS, I like to go data, traffic, and airport. That's what I like to do. Yeah, hydraulic 1, 2, 3 fail. Interesting. We're going to see about that. EIS source, we're in 1. Static is normal. That's how you turn your flight director on and off right there. And then see, these are your transfer lights that you do by procedure. If you had to transfer to the other source, your auxiliary source. You come in here now. When you get over to Pereira, remember I'm teaching you to do the whole profile here. Take a look at this decision altitude, 4780. This is a good time to set it right now, 4780. I am not going to make you go through that with me. I'm going to go here and I'm going to slew that over myself using my hyper scroll wheel, but it's going to take forever. I'm going to pause it. I'll be right back. I just wanted you to experience the fruits of my labor. 3 minutes later, getting that all set. So that's all set for when we get over there. With two-man airplane, that sets really quickly. Weather radar is off. If you want to test it, all you have to do is go down here and go to tests, and you'll get a nice test on it with all on both sides. Take it out of test when it's done. And I usually leave this weather radar on. I just leave it in terrain right there. Okay, coming across no unwanted flags. There's terrain. I'll leave that going. We're going to leave this on air for the start. If you wanted to go down here, we're going to go to the center. I'm going to go TO. Anti-skid is off. Light is off. Hydraulic pump, you can turn it on there, or the hydraulic panel, we'll turn it on here when the time comes. I'm just hoping those hydraulic messages go away. Spoiler handler's down. Overboost breakout bar is full aft. That's if you lose 2 engines and you want to get the most out of that engine. Flap handle's up for now. I accidentally must have touched that. Also here, we need to set our takeoff flaps in the dial flap, unique to the McDonnell Douglas product, Super 80 and MD-11, flaps 15. So you first click on your flap, goes to 0, next dial flap, third is flaps 28, 35, and then 50, and so on. We've got ATIS set here, guards set there. This is clearance, and ground over here is 21.9, 21.8, but they're going to be doing that for us. Throttles, reverse levers down, throttles right, fuel control switch cut off, all the CRT lights are all the way out. If you're going to go ACARS or IVAO here, you go pre-flight, load up your pre-flight data, and departure and arrival clearance, free text messages with ATC, as well as your HOPI code you put in over there. We're not going to use that panel today. Coming all the way down, 0 on the rudder trim, 0 on the aileron trim, and the elevator trim, we would set from here and set it up on the config page. So that's the Origination Preflight, and we're going to come back in now and load the box. We got a ton to talk about here, guys. A ton to talk about. Let's see. Let me get this off to the side for us here. Yeah, So that's our route of flight. You can see the complicated arrival into runway 26. We'll make this small. We'll bring this over. Let's bring it way over here for now, right? Get it out of the way. Okay, init page 1. So to backtrack, you start off on FMC. There's your database. Make sure it's correct. You did the flight plan init. Leave alternate fuel blank. I'll show you why in a minute. We are at Avianca 8515. Put that in. Our cruise level is 18,000. Not flight level 180 or 18,000. Let's say we're minus 22. In the wing component, I'm looking at my sim brief is plus 17. And I'm looking at my cost index is 200. That's fast. We're going to want to be slow for that arrival, I'll tell you that. Go to the next page. Block fuel looks good. We talked about the taxi fuel being 2,000. We come back here. Alternate fuel is 91.74. So 91.2. And that's for that routing that we saw on the plan up here. We'll bring that over. That's the alternate routing. So that's why it's important you don't put an alternate in there. Otherwise it does, as the crow flies, this is the route you can expect. Sometimes it can add a couple of thousand pounds to you. 9.2 in the alternate fuel. Zero fuel weight. Just come back in here. Zero fuel weight is 336.5. 336.5. 336.5. Takeoff going like that. All right, and now third page is just fuel dump and fueling panel. We're not going to do that. Now we've got this. We're going to go to ISNOX. Our 32 right. Always put the runway in first. Gives you the proper SIDs. 32 right. ISNOX. Sierra to Sierra. To Sierra. Transition is ISNOX. ISNOX transition ISNOX. Now remember I told you don't put in the, even though they gave us an arrival, don't do that. Go from here and go star and go to the RNAV 26. This is right there, RNAV 26. Min profile descent is 4780 we said. Remember I set my mins, 4780. And don't put in anything here. Go insert and then ISNOX. Now, if you look in here, flight plan, it goes ISNOX and then it picks up the arrival right from there. So that's a key thing. Now, last time I loaded this, I had to make a few corrections. So we're going to take a couple of looks. Like, see this at or above 14? It's at or below. It's between 12 and 14. So let's go to our flight plan. We got a few things we got to correct here. I've already mentioned a bunch to you. All right, so I'll get this over where you can see it. Move that out of the way. Let me get the ISNOX departure here. First of all, our first point here, turn on course to 503. See how this says 32 right and then 32 right again? That messed me up. So just delete this one. I hate to do that to you guys, but it's happening on this profile. So B503 is your first point on here. B503 and 9600. Real important. That's when you start your turn. Then left turn, and we've got a couple of crossings. Look at this one. This one is at 12. 549 is at 12. That's right. But until the turn complete, they want you to go between 12 and 14. Stay below 14 till you complete the turn. This says above 14. At or above 12, at or below 14. Well, that's correct. At or above 12, at or above 14. That's a funny way of depicting it. To me, that says at or above 14. So I think what I'm going to do here is put in a hard 14 We got a couple other things we got to do. Hard 14. And then you've got 14. 552 and 527 at 18, which is fine. That's why they don't have any other ones here. It's 522 at 18 because they're staying at 18 the whole way. That's all good. Now, if you remember what we did, this is, I'm telling you, this is a tough one. What we did when we went to that 10-4 stuff, remember? So 9200. So we got a lot to do here. So we'll go to our takeoff data, and it's a flex temp of 44, then 1936, my mom's birth year, 1936, 155, and 44. 44. Packs on. It defaults to flaps off, packs off on the MD-11. 15. 0 slope, 0 wind. Outside air temperature, we said was 21 Celsius, about that. And this is where you put those altitudes in, guys. 92, 11, and 12.5. So climb thrust, they want you to do that. That's for noise abatement at 9200. 9200, which is kind of low. And start to turn at 96. And the excel height is at 11. Remember, it's 8,400 feet. So that's 2,600 above the ground. Accelerate. Climb thrust is coming back early at 1,800. And then it's remember 1933? My mother, 1936, my father's birth year. And then 54 is fine. And then I always, whoa. And if I were you, at this point, before I do the next page, I'd make sure they're all there. Because a lot of times, you got to, for whatever reason, you got to press it twice. Now, go to you got that, those pages are set. Now we're going to come back in here. It's meant MD-11. Top of climb, anywhere in anywhere above the top of climb. Go here. It says 250 to 11. Remember, we're supposed to do 250 until 12.5. 250 to 12.5. Remember, it's noise abatement. 250 to 12.5. So I'm going to put in 250 to 12.5. So we should be able to go nav and profile. And this thing should maintain V2 until 11,000 feet. Climb power will come back at 9,200, starts to turn at 96, V2 to 11,000 feet, and then clean it up. It'll go 250 until 12.5, then it'll accelerate. And on here, it should be doing the turn at 9,600, 12,000, and 14. And the big thing here is you want to make sure that first point there is a magenta, is 503, which it is. And after that, you can go nav, profile, there's profile, and nav. I wouldn't run arm auto flight yet. And you are set up. Pretty good. I never did check the takeoff warning.
Full left. Brakes. Full left. Full left. Brakes. Full left.
Okay. A little bit bothered here, guys, that the hydraulic panel, this maybe had something to do with the fact that the flap lever was out of the up detent, perhaps. So let's do this. Let's go back to manual here. Maybe turn this on. Why is it stuck in manual? It does appear to be stuck in manual, does it? There's auto. And the lights are out. I don't know why. It's a sim. I won't even call it a simism. I'll call it a Captain Richard mess up. All right, guys. So there you go. We've briefed the departure. We've looked at the fact that it's going to be a complicated arrival. We're all set. FSiPanel. We checked the ATIS. It's information. Mike, and we're at gate 47, 45. Let's come up here and get this started, and then we'll get our clearance.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Okay, here we go. Clearance, 21.6. Bogota clearance, Avianca 8515. Information, Mike. Request clearance to Pereira.
We are ready for pushback.
Good morning, Avianca 8515. You're cleared to Pereira as filed. Runway 32 right, East Knox to Sierra departure. Climb initially 2000 feet and squawk 3215.
Avianca 8515, clear to Pereira as filed. Runway 32 right, is Knox to Sierra. Climb initially 12,000, 3215. And
Avianca
12,000 set.
8515, the readback is correct. For pushback, contact ground 121 decimal 8. Adios.
21A for pushback, adios. Avianca 8550. Right, guys, while they get the tug ready outside, we're going to come in here and we're going to run the checklist. Remember, we ran the pre-flight, right? Checklist. We got that all done by memory. Come in here. FMS MCDU is initialized and checked. IRS is nav and align. I just go through them because the most important thing is to get this right. Hydraulic panel is checked. Finally, fuel panel is checked and set. Emergency lights, we did put those to arm. No smoking's on. Let's get the seatbelt sign. We're within 5 minutes. That's on. I'll give him a call in a second. Fire warnings are tested. EVAC switch is good. AFS panel, we checked that with that was with the LSATs and everything looks good. Cabin pressure control panel checked and auto windshield anti-ice and defog. They're normal on, defog lights out. Clear shift control panel set and checked. System display control panel, that's checked. EIS and bugs is checked. Altimeters, traffic, airport, whatever you want. Standby flight instruments are checked. Gear handle lights down and green. Auto brake selector is TO. Brakes and pressures parked in normals. Flap stop handle up retracted. Brake, overboost breakout bar is reset. Throttles are closed. Reverse levers are down. Takeoff warnings checked. Fuel switch is off. VHF radios are set. Weather radar is off. And transponders set and TA. And we saw that it was turned it on and TARA. Seatbelt sign and status page checked. And aux hydraulic pump, beacon, nav, engine ignition. Okay, good. So let's go to the status page real quick. All we got left is ignition. I'm going to go to the air page for the start. So far, so good. I think we're going to be good. Let's go to ground, 21.8. They're going to start setting the freaks for us. We're going to let them. But if we wanted to, we could right now go to tower of 18.1. 18.1. And they'll start setting it. They would have already started setting it. I'm just showing you what you would do if you were in that sim or IVAO. You would get these all set up naturally. And there you go. Let's just give them a call. We're at gate 47 and information my Bogota ground, Avianca 8515. Like to push back to start engines. Information Mike, gate 47.
Buenas tardes, Avianca 8515. Push and start approved, facing southeast on spot 12.
Push and start approved, face southeast, spot 12, Avianca 8515. Right, beacons are on. Aux anti-skid is on. Aux pump is on. And we'll give him a call now. GSX.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Continue push back. Nose left.
Release parking brakes, please.
Just press the pedals. Release them.
Commencing push. All engines clear.
All right.
Start at wing.
Ignition's on. Override turns on both igniters. Even number flights. Odd number flights usually go A, even B, or captain flying. Full flying. So there we go. We're going to start 312 on these Pratt & Whitneys. But before we did, we want to make sure we had good pressure. After the start valve is open, you need at least 25. You can see it start off at 32. Number 3's got down to 25. We want to make sure we have oil pressure. We do. And 15, which we do. Bring up the fuel lever. Some airlines go to max motoring here. Same as the GEs in a couple of ways. We're going to go 1, 2, 12468. This is EGT is going to be around 4. N1 is 2, so 2, 4, 6, around 60%. 8 the oil. See how it started off at 22, now it's down to 16? That's oil gulp. And then normally 12, 2468, 12, and around 1 on the EPR. But it's higher because we're at a high pressure altitude. You know, while I'm here, see how it says 3.0 on the stab trim? I need to set, after closeout, 4.7, which is on the takeoff page. That's good. I need to also arm the spoilers, which I forgot to do, get that done. All right, number 1 is started. Number 3 is started. Let's start number 1. With the start valve open, we'd want to check at least 25 psi. See how this one popped up to 35? Setting the brakes, guys.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
I'll let him go in a second. We have oil pressure rise on the number 1. We have at least 15%. Closer to max motoring. Start that one. We come up here, let him go. Confirm
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
This blue lightning bolt means it's an ignition is going. When you hit 45, that goes out and the start valve closes. This 45, start valve closes, lights out. We'll be looking for 2468. You turn on the engine ice if you were 10 degrees. We're at 20 with visible moisture. Start number 2. Check the air. At least 25. Back to engine. Make sure you have at least oil pressure and 15 minimum. Start it.
Contract disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
You can see these two engines. We've got 2,
Left is clear.
4,
Right is clear.
6. Oil gulp is complete, and you have at least 1,200 fuel flow. They all usually around 11 or 12, but because we're at 8,400 feet, it's a higher RPM to fuel flow to maintain that RPM. And here comes 45. You're going to see the ignition go off. Start valve in. This 45. Start valve's in. 3 normals. And that guy's clear. We can go flaps 15, which is 2 clicks. 1. The second one goes to the dial flap. Let's see if we can find this guy out there. There he goes. Looks like we should be able to see him now. Yeah, here you go, my friend. And that should get rid of him. Looks good. Let's go to the config page down here. We check a bunch of things on the config page. We check the trim, check the flaps, we check the tire pressures and the brake temperatures. Then we check the flight controls. Usually the captain goes first with the rudders, getting green, full deflection while he holds onto the nose wheel. And the FO checks the aileron and spoilers. And then the elevators. Taking the time doing that. And with that, you go to status page. And big thing here is green box. We should get that in just a second. Status page is good. Go to engines. Good. And I'm going to release the brakes. There's green box. We go to ground. We're on ground. Bogota ground, Avianca 8515, spot 12 to taxi. Information, Mike.
Avianca 8515, taxi holding point 32 right, via Charlie, Bravo 9, and Alpha.
Holding point 32 right, Charlie, Bravo 9, Alpha for Avianca 8515. All right, here we are. Charlie, Bravo 9, Alpha. Bravo's closed by NOTAM. Okay, here we go. Brakes are off, clear left, clear right, taxi lights on. And here we go. 40% min brake off, max power, breakaway thrust. If you need more than 40%, guys, you ask around. Now, you're going to notice that these throttles do not come right up because we are high at altitude. We're at 8,500 feet, so it takes a little while for them to come up. Same thing on takeoff. What you're going to notice is that, I think it's a little high on that. on takeoff, you're going to notice long takeoff roll because you are heavy, and you're really going to have also a shallow pitch out. So usually you end up to 15 to 20 degrees. 20 degrees of this lightweight. We're going to end up down around, probably down more like 10 when we get there. All right. For takeoff check, we can check weights, winds, and temperatures. Weights are within 3,000 because we're doing the flex takeoff. If you were doing a max power takeoff, if you were even 1 pound above, you would have to get new numbers. Weights, winds, make sure it's a headwind. You can take headwind into account if you really needed to get off a runway. Half the headwind is permissible, my company anyway. But otherwise, you subtract whatever the takeoff power sheet says. For every knot of tail, it might be 1,500 pounds, so 10 knots, be 15,000 off the runway limit and not the climb. Your nose wheel is right where this is, right here. I don't like that setting right there. Should be just about like that. Let me reset my seat here. Double check that. Yeah, that's better. I don't know how that got mixed up. I've been flying the 7.2 lately. Weight, winds, and temperatures check. Temperature, we're at 44 flex temperature. If we were above 44, which is ridiculous, we'd have to get new numbers because it's flex. But our real temp, if we're doing max power, if we're above 20, we'd have to get new numbers. But everything checks out here. Weights, winds, temperatures checked. Then we go flight control panel, got 250 clean maneuver. We've got a nav arm, profile arm, runway heading set, 12,000, 18,000 transition, 11,000 on the engine out procedure. If we lose an engine, we're going to go runway heading. We're going to go out about 10 DME and follow the missed approach procedure for the ILS to the right side, the runway we're taking off on, 3 to right. Another thing we do check here, guys, on the here, we always check to make sure we have the correct runway and the active waypoint. Sometimes that's not the right one, and when you go nav, it's not going to know where it is. So correct runway and active waypoint, and you say checked runway 32 right. There's a checklist here for this if you want to use it. After start, we talked about all that. Before takeoff, anti-ice stab trim, spoilers, brakes, flap slats, config, green box, zero fuel weight updated, EAD is checked, PA and chime, flight attendants prepared for takeoff, and that's it. Any questions? Yeah, that's where your nose gear should be. See, it's pretty much there. Quiet. Yeah, I haven't flown the Pratt & Whitneys much because they've been working on them. The toughest thing for them to do at TFDi has been to get the data for the EPRs. It's not readily available like you think through proprietary things, so a lot of it's been trying to get that data going.
Avianca 8515, contact tower 118.1. Buona tarde, adios.
18-1, buona tarde. Avianca 8515. All right, now see that the frequency didn't change just yet. Oh, there it is, 18.1. They change really quickly. They change it themselves. It takes them a little while. Just give them a few seconds. Tower Avianca 8515 is ready for takeoff on runway 32 right.
Buenos dias, Avianca 8515. Runway
clear.
32 right. Line up and wait.
Line up and wait, 32 right, Avianca 8515. Clear left, clear right. I'm going to get the lights on and the strobes on, even though we usually don't get that. And the runway turnoff's even on. Light ourselves up. We don't usually get all that on until we're clear for takeoff in case it's crossing traffic. But we're a two-man airplane flying with one limited dude, so we'll get that all out there. Here we go. Final's clear. We are ready for takeoff. We'll get out there. Guys, I don't set 70%. I don't set the auto flight on until I'm on the runway. American Airlines didn't like you to do that either. Let's go, guys. And the reason is, if you go over 70, now this high altitude profile, it's real easy to go over 70 trying to get this thing moving. So right now, I might be, look, I'm bringing these throttles up, and they don't want to come up. There they go. Now they're coming up all of a sudden. I might go over 70, and we got ourselves toga power, and we're off the end of the runway.
Avianca 8515, wind 270, 19 knots, runway 32 right, cleared for takeoff.
Now it's armed. Clear for takeoff, 32 right, Avianca 8515. Now it's armed. Okay. I'm in here, runway heading checks. Now I'll set 70%. You'll notice it's going to take a long time to come up. And there it is. There's takeoff power. Is set. 1.5 on the EPR. Look for 80 knots. We'll get clamp. Looking down here, center line. 80 knots. We got nav profile armed. You can see this, a long takeoff roll at this high altitude. And remember, we're going to just rotate real slowly because it's thin air at taking off at 9,000 foot pressure altitude. V1, and we'll rotate nice and easy. Maintaining center line. You see those, look at that bar. Not going up high like it usually does, right? Positive rate gear up. And guys, I got nav displayed. I'm going to go auto flight on, and we're going to see how this thing does, all right? Didn't want to do it. Son of a gun. There it is, nav. Okay, beautiful. All right, so what is the first point? Remember, 9,600, it's going to go climb power. There, 9,200 went climb power.
Avianca 8515, contact Bogota approach 121.3. Buona tarde, adios.
21.3, buona tarde. Avianca 8515. It's mainly V2 until we set 11,000 feet. Look how good it's doing. 121.3, come on. 121 point, should be 3, it's not changing over. 21.3, it's taken away from our enjoyment of watching the panel. It didn't set that freak for me. I'll have to write that one up. 21.3, now at 11,000.
Avianca 8515, contact Bogota approach 121.3. Buona tarde, adios.
21.3, buona tarde, Avianca. All right, guys, finally, there's 11,000. You can see it's starting to push over. Avianca 8515's out of 11.5 for 12,000. Slats retract.
Buenos dias, Avianca
It's going to maintain 250 to 12,500.
Identified, car via SID, 18,000 feet, 18,000 feet.
Climb via SID, 18,000 feet for Avianca 8515. Right, 18,000 is in the window. And remember, guys, it's doing 12,000 until this point. It's going to do 250 until 12.5. So look at that. That's all in profile. It didn't want to take nav right off the bat, but it's doing a heck of a job. So maintain V2 until at 9,200 feet, power came back. 9,600, it started to turn. 11,500, it started to clean up, pushed over, and now it's maintaining 250. Climb via the SID until 12.5, but we have a couple of points here, right? 12,000, it's doing a heck of a job. TFDi, nice job, guys. And then this is the block, 12 to 14. So it should maintain 14 till then. It's doing a great job. And then it was 250 until 12.5. I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's go outside and celebrate. Whisper Jet. All right. That's where we are. Right there. It's at 12,000. Then it's going to climb 12 to 14. And then, don't forget this point. That's not a real point. That's not ours. We're off that. Right, we're down here.
Stabilizer motion.
All right, there's 12. Now it should start climbing on up. Once that turns from magenta, the next one's magenta, there goes the climb power. And at 12.5, it should push it over to accelerate. Nice job. We got to cross here between 12 and 14. That's not going to be a problem. There's 12.5. There's the airspeed. TFDi. Woo, woo. Now we can come in. Remember, that sterile cockpit is 10,000 above the ground, AGL. Not 10,000 MSL, 10,000 above the ground. We're not going to hit that till 18,000. So really, it's when we level off, we'll desterilize. Over here it's showing an exceedance of 105.9 on the N2. We'd have to write that up when we got there. These, you can see these EPRs moving around a little bit, guys. That's the Pratt & Whitneys that we're having trouble with right now, but it's working. It's working. Get my heading moved over here. Now, I wanted to do it in the TFDi colors, so I'm doing the Pratt & Whitneys even though that they're still in development. We'll see how they do. All right, let's start getting ready. We don't have a heck of a lot of time. So let's go down here, get the ATIS going for Pereira.
1,000 feet, temperature 18, dew point 12, QNH1018, transition level flight level 190. Acknowledge received Pereira Airport information Oscar on first contact.
Oscar, it's 4,400 foot at pressure altitude, 6,200 foot runway. Let's listen to it again.
This is Pereira Airport information Oscar. Runway in use 26, wind 280 degrees at 17 knots, visibility 10 kilometers or more, cloud scattered 3,000 feet, scattered 7,000 feet, temperature 18, dew point 12, QNH1018, transition level flight level 190. Acknowledge received Pereira Airport information Oscar on first contact.
All right, that's Oscar. It didn't change that departure freak over for me, 21.3. It says the next one's going to be 28.6.
Avianca 8515, contact Bogota Center 128.6. Adios.
17 for 18. 28.6 for Avianca 8515. Adios. Let's see if it does this one for me. It usually does. 28.6, it did it. It's funny, just that one. And that is Bogota. Bogota Avianca 8515 is leveling at 18,000.
Avianca 8515 Bogota, Buenos Dias. Maintain 18,000 feet QNH 101X and expect runway 26 at Pereira.
Okay, maintain 18,000 feet and 1018. We'll expect 26 at Pereira. Avianca 8550. All right, so make a little PA. Turn off the landing lights for now. And turn off the seatbelt sign. Let the people walk around. Let them know we land in 25 minutes. Start briefing the approach. All right, we talked about that. We are on to Pereira. Our alternate is Bogota, by the way. On to Pereira. First thing we need to talk about, we're not going to do the arrival even though we were filed for it because we're going to do the RNP with the transition. So we need to take a look at this and double check all this. I do have some feelings about this that I want to talk to you about. We'll do short runways at flaps 50, by the way. We'll look at that in a minute. We're going to go from ISNOC, so I need to get that one up here. Don't worry about the throttles, guys. They're the Pratt & Whitneys under construction. I'm going to just fly it in. It should still work. All right. Minimum of 15, maximum of 18 at 911. That's what that is. At or above 15, we are at 18, so that's good. And then a 911. 911 is above 15. Above 15. 912 is above 12.5, max of 210. So we're going to be getting real slow here. This is 250 at ISNOC. So ISNOC says 330. Let's put in 250. Yeah, these are the Pratt & Whitneys, guys. Don't worry about them. 250. And we already know about the altitude here. 15 and 18. Okay. And then let me get this up here for you. PE 915 is 190 and 8,000. This one's 10.5 back here. 10.5 and 210 at 13. 190 and 215, that's correct. Now, if you wanted to, you can make these hard altitudes. So, right here, I might just do that. 210 and 12.5. The reason is, guys, when I flew this in the A300-600, it had a heck of a time. It did. And I'm going to do this 913 at 10.5. Instead of at or above 10.5, to do it at 10.5. Just a technique. It does a little better. And then we're going to come up here. Do the final ones. $160 at 7.5. We're going to do 160 and at 7.5. This is just a technique. Maybe not even a good one. 160 at 7.5. And this one, 143 at 49.50. We'll go 140, 143 and 49.50 exactly. And the runway, it's down here, and our mids are set. And our missed approach is in the box. It's 919, which straight ahead, pick it up, then right turn 919, 920, 921, parallel entry into Donby. And down here, the runway after landing, runway 26, we're gonna have flaps 50, brakes, we'll put these brakes on medium, and we'll arm the spoilers when the time comes, and do 180 on the runway. 148 is within our mid-turning. We'll probably clear at Alpha and park somewhere up in here. And that's it. And we check the weather. ATIS approach is briefed. Get the heading set up here. And that's it. We're doing good. Got a little break. Let's go outside. Do you guys know why when I go exterior view it does that circle like that? It's kind of pretty, but you know, it's not what I intend to do. That's my drone view. The Pratt Whitneys, that's what they look like. A little different, huh? Wait till you see this turn to final, guys. It is so tight. I don't think I emphasized that with you yet. Let me emphasize that now. Look at the turn to final. We're going to roll out at this point 918 at 4950. That's when we roll out. 4950, and field elevation is, we're going to be about 600 feet above the ground, so less than 2 miles on the rollout as we turn inside this big peak. So if we have to go around, it's going around Toga. I guess there's a Toga switch here. I have one program, a little screw right there. Going around Toga, flaps 28, which is going to be 2 clicks up on flaps 50. Going around Toga, flaps 28. Positive brake, gear up, set missed approach altitude. We're going to have to try to get missed approach altitude set once we get inside the FAF of 7,500. And missed approach altitude is going to be 9,000. So once we get inside here, 7,500, somehow I got to get 9,000 set in that altitude window because we're not going to have a lot of time. And then it's going to be nav, and it should fly out here to 19, and then 20, and off we go. Here's the top of descent right there. Beautiful, huh? Yeah, you could have set the weather at IMC here for this profile. You had the option, but I like you to see how critical it is to stay on center line. It's very impressive. I did it in the Airbus A300. I don't think I've done this in the 777 yet, PMDG. I'll have to try it. Airbus, it didn't do very good, to be honest with you. MD-11, I'm expecting better.
Avianca 8515, contact approach 120 decimal at 7. Buona tarde, adios.
120.7, buona tarde, Avianca 8550. 120.7. Wait for it to set that. There it is. Information, Oscar. Approach Avianca 8515 at 18,000, Oscar.
Avianca 8515, approach Buenos Dias, descend 6,000 feet, QNH is 1018, and you are cleared R and P approach runway 26.
cleared to 16,000, cleared the RMP 26, Avianca 8515. So guys, if I'm cleared the RMP, I can set this all the way down to 4,800 feet. Let me get back to profile here. Spazzing out over here. Not there's anything wrong with that, right? So I can set this to 4,800 feet. And now it did not go with it. Profile, come on, let's go. All right, let's go. Looks to me like it missed it, so let's go here. Set this up to 4,800. I wish that it would stop doing that. That's a simism. I'm going to start down at 250. I'm going to give it a little speed brake to try to get it back on profile here. Maybe it's not going to work out. Yeah, he gave it to that descent right as we went. Remember this first point, let's go down here, see if we can get back on profile, is at 11, 9 is Knox, no, it's 18, so we can go down to 911 at 15. Why don't we try to do that? Let's go with a 15 and get back on profile that way. 15 at 911, right?
Altitude.
I'm going to level off at 16 because he cleared us for that. And then I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go init 16,000. Right? 16,000.
Altitude.
Level at 16. Because ISNOX is between 15 and 16.
Altitude.
Leave it right there. Once it levels off, I'm going to go back into profile. We're back in profile. And now what I'm going to do is set in my altitude of 4,800. Yep. So he cleared us down to 16. And then on the approach, and there's ISNOX between 15 and 16. There it is. It's trying to catch up there. Supposed to be at 250 at ISNOX. We're at 250. Let me help it just a little bit. We're still in profile. Our next one is ISNOX at 50, PF15 at or above 15. So that's what it's going to do. And 250. Right there, it's leveling, nice. It's doing good. And there is, when that turns, goes from 15, it should go down to 12.5. There it goes. Throttle should come back. Are they? Yes, they are. And it should be trying to cross. I'm going to give it a little help with the 250. Because remember, I set those were at or above, and I set them as hard altitudes. So it's trying to maintain 250 and make those, because I set up with tough parameters. I just find it does better, at least should. And remember, this is at or above 12.5. Right now it's going down to 12.5. Should be going to 250 as well. This should be slowing to 210 here. We're below 280, so I can go flaps 1. Flaps extend. It says add drag. Can't get much more drag than that, brother. This is at or above 12.5. 210 knots. We'll see if it remembers to do that. It's going to give 210 for me. So I'm cut it close. Sometimes it does that. Yeah, there it goes to 210. See it? Cuts it a lot closer than I would normally. And below 255, we can go flaps to 15. And now it's going to try to make 210 at 10.5. Remember, that's a max speed too. We could set it slower. We could go much slower. Look at this approach, guys. It's crazy. Crazy. Descent altimeters are set. Let's go to the overhead. Flight attendants prepare for landing. Get all our lights all on.
Avianca 8515, contact tower 118.7. Adios.
18.7, adios, Avianca 8550. Wait for 18.7. Tower Avianca 8515 is out of 11.5 for the RNAV 26.
Avianca 8515, tower, buenos dias. Continue approach. We have one departing traffic ahead of you. I call you back for landing clearance.
Okay, we'll continue Avianca 8515. All right, so there it is, 10.5 there and 210 knots. You know what, guys? I am going to speed intervene. I think I'm going to be slower. I'm going to bring this all the way back to 175. And the reason is these turns are super tight. So remember, it's a max airspeed there. And now I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say flaps 15. I'm going to go flaps 28, low 215. And don't be afraid to configure nice and early. All right, there's 10.5. Our next one is at or above 75, 8,000 and 190. 8,000 and 190, or max 190 will be at 175. There's 10.5. It's doing a good job. Keep the heading bug around. Actually, I think I got to set this for runway heading for the mist. I set the heading bug up. Just get it runway heading all the way around to 260. That's what we're going to roll out. All right, it's doing a good job coming down. Now it's 8. That's not 10,005. Next one is 8,000 feet right there. I'm going to go gear down. It's going to get hairy here. Remember, these are max speeds. Have you know I have speed brakes armed, so let me disarm them. And I'm going to go to 160 on the speed. Gear is down 3 green. I'm going to go flaps 35. And I'm going to get this all the way down to approach speed. We're not that far from the runway. I'm going to go all the way to flaps 50. Because look at these turns, how tight these are, guys. All right, slowing down. Go here. 143 is the approach speed. Remember, these are max speeds.
Stabilizer
I'll go
motion.
145. That's good enough. Play with it when we get in there. And arm the spoilers. Auto brakes are medium. Before landing checklist is complete. Here he comes, 8,000 and a max speed of 190. We're all the way back to our approach speed. You got to put a couple of knots on for Mama here. All right, there we go. Our next altitude is 7,500 and 160 max. 7,500 and 160, then 143 and 49.
Stabilizer
It's doing
motion.
good. This is a very unnerving approach to fly in the simulator because you really can't see the runway. It's over there somewhere.
Land 4218, wind 260 degrees at 18 knots, runway 26, clear for lineup and takeoff. No delay, we have the traffic in the approach.
And that's not good.
Roger, clear for takeoff, runway 26, land 4218.
All right, so they just cleared someone onto the runway. We're coming up on the FAF, if you remember. FAF is right there, 7,500. That's when we can set our missed approach altitude of 9. Right now, it's still magenta, so we're not inside that. We've got a runway heading set.
Stabilizer motion.
And here we go onto the final approach portion, and then that little tight turn to final. We're right there. We're down below 7,500. We're below missed approach altitude. We'll come up here.
2,500.
I'm going to set 9,000 in the window. Is it going to let me do it? There he goes. Okay. Take a look outside. The runway's right over here. Got to admit, I'm there at this green box, guys. We got to go missed approach. It's runway heading. Get it into nav. We're going to go in around flaps 28. Toga switch is there, or wherever it is. Going around Toga, flaps 28. Positive rate gear up. Set missed approach altitude, which is set 9,000. All right, I'm going to go. Here we come. We're turning on the short final. I feel a little high. I'm going to turn off the autopilot, even though it's saying we're okay. Turn it around.
1,000.
Land 4218, we have a small technical issue. We have a master caution here in the cockpit and we are not able to depart.
Sync rate.
Should we stay on the runway?
Pull up. Pull up.
Copy, the
All right,
land 4218, vacate runway to the right and
Box 28.
report runway vacated.
Sync rate.
400.
Sync rate.
Toga.
Avianca 8515, traffic is blocking the runway. Go around.
300.
Avianca 48515 going around. All right, going around Toga, flaps 28. We did all that. Positive rate gear up, set missed approach altitude. We can hit nav, guys. We're in nav. We're going to 9,000. We can go put the speed up. Let me just get the indicator there, speed here. Spin that up for us. And I would say 210 on the indicated will be fine. All right, there's V2.
Avianca 8515, contact approach 120.7. Speak to your header. Sorry about that.
120.7, Avianca 8515 too. All right, guys, there it is. We're going to go this. We're going to go airspeed. We're above. So there's our V2 to clean up altitude. We're going up. 120.7. Going to 9,000. We got it in nav. It's going to fly the missed approach. Flaps up. Avianca 8515 executing missed approach.
Avianca 8515. Plan to maintain 9,000 feet, QNH is 1018, and proceed the standard missed approach to Don B and hold.
Standard missed approach to Don B and hold 9,000 feet, 1018, Avianca 8515. All right, guys, you can see it's accelerating very slowly, even though we've got go-around power set. Oh, I thought they said gear up. Positive rate gear up. Didn't get that up. That'll explain it. Slash your track. Would have been real noisy. All right, F takeoff climb check. You get that up here. Spoilers are disarmed. Aircraft's clean. We got to enter the hold, so why don't we just hold at 210?
Stabilizer motion.
Yeah, we'll hold at 210. And all that's important here is that we're in nav, we're going to Don B, we're at holding speed, we're a clean aircraft. So what happened there? First of all, we're a little high anyway. We probably would have had to go around. I messed that up. They put the guy in the runway, had to go around. I made the decision to go around before they told us to. We're going around Toga, flaps 28. We did all that. Positive rate gear up, set missed approach altitude. I said that and didn't do it. The gear didn't go up. Come on, Bob. And then we get up to a safe altitude as we're climbing. We start cleaning it up. I did it by bring the speed up and then go on level change and speed select. It pushed it over, and as the speeds came in, reflected it. So why isn't it accelerating? Well, it's because the gear was still down, and so we got the gear up and we're good to go. Now this says landing gear. That's a common malfunction on this. That shouldn't be there. The gear is obviously up and locked. So we're going to ignore that, okay? How much fuel do we have? So right now we are sitting there with 26.6 on the fuel. Remember we put the extra on board, 26.6. And if we go here, sim brief, our reserve plus alternate. Reserve is 5.8, and that's to go back to Bogota. And our alternate fuel is Bogota, so that's 14, call it 15. We have 26, so like I said, we have about 40 minutes of hold. More than enough to fly a couple more approaches, especially when the weather is good as it is. And that wasn't a weather go-around, right?
Motion.
That was it. It's going to be a parallel entry. If they clear us back for that RNAV, which is the only approach that is available, Donby is a IAF. We're holding at 9,000. Parallel entry going in like this. When we're ready, we got to reload it to get Serva in front of us, 14, and then 9:15. So we'll see how we clean that one up. That's going to be probably a little messy when we do that, but we'll get it done. We're not worried. But we make a PA to the people, tell them that there's an aircraft on the runway, and they're going to have to get towed off the runway, so we're required to hold for a little while. We should be on the ground within 20 minutes. I apologize for the inconvenience. So I'm going to get the heading back around to, I'm going to say, back this way, just in case they give us.
Avianca 8515, descend 8,000 feet, don't be in hold, and report ready for the approach.
Send 8,000, Don be in hold, we'll call ready Avianca 8515. All right, 8,000 is set, we'll just level change it on down there. Now it's going to take us a little while to get this box set up, I got a feeling. We'll see. So what we're going to be looking for is the IAF of Donby as we reinsert this, and while we're in the hold. I'll enter the hold, then I'll set it up.
Stabilizer motion.
So it's going to be Serva, PE 14, then PE 15, 16, and the same thing. Again, this time a turn to final did okay. It made the speeds, made all the altitudes, but that turn to final, when I put the missed approach altitude of 9, it started leveling off. And it didn't like that. Normally, once you're inside the FAF, you can put in your 300 feet below the missed approach altitude, which we were. You can put it in. It started leveling off, so that's what got us in trouble. It should have been autopilot off and just get back down onto glide path, but I didn't. So it's going to do, looks like a parallel entry. We'll let it do that. And Avianca 8515 entering the hold at Donby. All right, there's 8,000, 210 knots. And Donby's no longer the active. So, again, let's see. Donby hold, let's see what we got in here. What kind of mess we have. Donby and hold. So let's go after the hold. Let's try this. Star. RNAV. I don't want this in here. So how do I get rid of this transition? Is it not going to let me? All right. I am going to do something here. SKPE. Dash SKPE. Taking a chance here, guys. And I'm going to go in here real quick. And I'm going to do this. Do this, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I'm going to go RNAV 26 4780. Insert it. Donby. Enter it. Flight plan. Direct. Donby. Enter. There it is. Go to the box here, And Avianca 8515 is ready for the approach.
Roger. Avianca 8515, you are clear. LNP runway 26.
Clear the LNP 26, Avianca 8515. It's not turning, guys. It's a simism. I'm going to get its turn back around towards Stambi. If airplane didn't do it, we just take it over, right? And once I get turned, I'll get going direct Stambi. We're still within holding airspace. Yeah. When I get going towards Stambi, I'll go execute Stambi, and we'll be good to go. Get back in here, see if I can see anything funky. Direct Stambi. That should do it, right? But it's got that hold still in there, which is the mist. So I'm going to wait till I turn around here to do direct Stambi again. I'm getting my slats extended. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Captain Richard. We'll be starting our approach here shortly. Thank you for your patience. A little more. Direct Stambi. We'll see what it does in nav, guys. Nav. Stambi. Come back here again. Direct Stambi again. Stambi Serva. Okay. And looks like it's doing it. Direct Stambi. That's the missed approach that's there, okay, right there. Now I'm going to get back in profile. I'm going to come to the box. I'm going to go in net. I'm going to put in 8,000 feet. 080. And I'm going to go profile. Look at how close we are to those mountains. Wow. Probably just outside of holding airspace. And here we go. Stambi Serva. Slowing down to 170. Flaps. You can go flaps 28. There's plenty of room here. I'm going to take over the speed manually. Indicated airspeed. It's not let me. There we go. Yeah, we're just having some simisms here, guys. We'll do 170. Accelerate out. Yeah, it's just doing some funky things here. And Donba is at 8. And what's the airspeed there? Max 210. 210. All right, so we can do this at 180. Just do it at 180. And I'm going to leave flaps 28 just for a lot of drag coming in here. And we're going to do the same thing over again. We are cleared the approach. Everything's in here. I can set in 4780, which is 4800. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to set that 9000. I'll just do everything manually. 4800 is set. And at Donba, it should start down. If it doesn't, we'll have to do it manually. Well, it's not going to start down at Donba because Donba's at 8, Serva's at 8, 914's at 8, so it's got a lot. What bothers me here is there's still this VTI is off, so we've got it in profile, got it in nav, we're taking over the speed manually, and it should maintain 8 until in here, and then start making those altitude restrictions. Something we didn't do is a landing assessment, but really, you know, PKE, runway, yeah. Landing assessment, just do this. Landing weight, 275. Perhaps 50. Calculate. Landing this is available 5300, so it says we can do it. All right, we'll see if it comes down and makes this approach right. Picked up a little weather in here, didn't we? Picked up a little weather. I don't know where that came from, guys. Whisper jet. All right, let's get this where we can see it. All right, 8,000 all the way in here, 210 max, so we're at 180 with flaps 28. Don't worry about the drag, and some of you guys get really worried about waste of fuel and all that. We're not wasting fuel. It's first thing you do is you fly the airplane, right? And this is a very tight, very, very tight approach. And you want to have this airplane have plenty of thrust to work with, not get yourself in a high situation. I think we're going to be okay this time, and the reason is because I messed this up on final when I went to 9. And that's not my fault. The airplane should have figured that out, but it didn't. Okay, looking good, looking good. We got brakes to medium, we got the spoilers armed, we got profile armed, we've got the bottom altitude in, and what could go wrong? And it's 8 all the way into 915. And then after 915, it starts going down. We'll keep the outer above in here for now. Just coming on in. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's get my drone going here. Yeah, I know what's up with the lack of engine noise out here, guys. The GEs, it's Pratt & Whitney's. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're not even releasing it. This is where we are on it. That's why we haven't released it. It's a couple of funky things. But if the numbers are right, it's working. You can see it. They can fly it. It does everything right. They're just doing some cosmetic things to it, so it's most of the way. So it's kind of a little sneak peek for you.
Avianca 8515, contact tower 118.7. Buona tarde, adios.
118.7. Buona tarde. Avianca 8550. Tower Avianca 8515 is on the RNAV 26. Again.
Avianca 8515, wind is 260, 17 knots, runway 26, you are clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 26, Avianca 8515. Clear to land, guys. All right, 160 max back there. A couple of points up. I got the gear down. I'm going to get us completely configured here. All right, it's 35. Flaps 50. .48's good. Is it not going to get it? There it goes. Starting down, it says profile to 75. It's starting down.
Stabilizer motion.
All right, gear, flaps, spoilers, green box. Here we come. This runway way over here. This is too much fun. Guys, even if you don't get FSiPanel, guys, you should get this. So let me get the runway heading set up here for the missed approach. I'm not messing with the I am not messing with the altitude. I think that really messed us up last time. And I'll just get it around to 260 in case we end up on heading. All right, here it comes. At or above 49. Once again, it's not going down. I'm going to take it over visually, guys.
Motion.
And I'm going to just fly it on down. Autopilot's off. Starting to turn.
2500.
Flight director's off.
Sync rate.
Yeah,
Sink rate.
Yeah.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate.
All right. Well,
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
nice,
Pull
huh?
up. Pull up. Pull up.
Nope.
Pull
Runway
up.
inside.
Sink
We're
rate.
landing.
Approaching
Bank angle.
minimum.
Bank angle.
Having a little fun.
500.
Pull up.
Definitely wouldn't want to
Pull
do this.
up.
300.
Pull up.
200. 100.
Pull up.
50. 30.
Pull up.
20.
Sink
10.
rate.
Let's stop it. Let's stop the airplane. Oh my goodness gracious. Coming out of reverse. I don't know, guys. Should I even publish that transition to land? I gotta go. It's dinner time. It's 5 o'clock. My wife's upstairs. I gotta get going. So, yeah. Once again, it didn't transition to land on the. Didn't start the descent. So just took
Avianca
it over.
515, backtrack is approved. Taxi gate 1 via Alpha.
It's not slowing down either. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, guys. Gate 1 via Alpha, Avianca 8515. All right, we get a tug in here. Maybe we'll make it. Guys, let's try the outside tire. This is always interesting. Try this in the silent world here. What is it, a quiet place? We're gonna make it. Yeah, the engines didn't want to come out of like 60% there, but we're gonna make it. Let's see. Can we see it? I think we are. We're not going anywhere today, are we? We're not going anywhere. We're going. Here we go. And there we are. We're back. Let's go.
Hi guys, JP. Well done. You made it safe here to Pereira.
I don't know,
Very
buddy.
nice approach, NPAR.
I don't know,
So
buddy.
I guess you had the authorization by your airlines to fly it. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you had to go around. Maybe the runway was clear on your first attempt. So this is as well completely random. So maybe if you fly it again, you might have the other option. As always, stay safe, and I would be very pleased to get your comment in the Discord channel. Thank you guys. See you next time.
Thank you, JP. I'm glad you didn't have to see that, buddy. All right, so self-critique. It went okay. Did our missed approach, got it cleaned up, went over into holding, did a good job there, figured out how to load it up. A lot of sim-isms taking place there. Came in at 8,000, slowed it down to 170, got it configured nice and early, hit the 7,500, and it didn't descend. And when I got the autopilot off, I told you that's tight. It wasn't soon enough. I should have, as soon as it didn't descend at the FAF, I should have got it off, but I waited till I was like half mile past it, which put me in a very high, tight position. I did something that, yeah, obviously would never do on a real airplane. Not good. But we'll go in there, we'll shut it down. How JP liked the landing. On FSiPanel, you can do a landing report. Landing distance good. Deviation from center line, 51 feet. Unsafe landing, nice landing, perfect. Touchdown, bank and touchdown. Overall, pretty crazy job by Captain Marvel here. But anyway, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Probably did learn some things doing it. If nothing else, what not to do. But a lot of fun. We'll go in here, we'll park it, we'll shut it down. And I'll print it. Like I said, these are the Pratt & Whitneys. They are in progress, being developed. You can see why there's a couple of issues with it. The vertical navigation did not have anything to do with that. That's just a limitation. The A300-600, I couldn't do it here. Maybe what I'll do is try the PMDG 777, see how it does with it. I got a feeling it's just a lot. It's a lot to do for this airplane to handle. But it did a pretty good job up until the turn to final when it leveled off. It just had a little trouble transitioning to land there with the autopilot on. The autopilot off portion, of course, was me. All right, let's go find an illegal parking spot, and probably would tell these guys not to come anywhere near the aircraft. This looks good here. I don't want to go anywhere near that fuel truck, that catering truck there. We'll go in here. The after landing check is complete. I used FSiPanel's automatic feature to do that. That comes up when you retract the flaps. Depends on the airplane. Sometimes it's speed brakes. It's good to be back in the MD-11. I've been doing the 7.2 for fun at the request of one of my guys over on Discord. By the way, if you want to join Discord, I certainly would appreciate that. Get over here. Pretty close. All right, brakes are parked. Let's go down here. Lights still on here, guys. Brakes parked. Go to the overhead. Seatbelt sign is off. And lights or taxi lights off. Runway turn-offs are off. And we can chop them. APU is established. APU air. APU power is on. APU air is on. RUs are off. I'm going to turn on off the pumps, the window heat. Turn off the cargo temps. Make sure all the lights are out. Come up here, turn off the beacon so they can bring the stairs up. Go in here, GS exit. Let these poor people out of here.
This parking is too small for your aircraft. The boarding requested.
Okay, looks good. Let's go outside. Let's fly around. Welcome to Pereira. A lot of fun. Avianca flight 8,515 has finally arrived at Pereira from Bogota. Hey, leave any comments, guys. Join the Discord. Please don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you guys a lot. Right? Father Time is out. We'll see you later.